Good
morning, Geshe. Thank you for coming back. We can begin now.
Okay. Tomla, we will go for this one, the Ye Dharma mantra. Ye Dharma mantra, screen sharing 3 times. Oh. The mantra, Tomla, oh, thank you. I will say this 3 times. Quickly to, I think I explained this, the meaning of this mantra. This mantra is very precious, which the Buddha himself taught in Tushita Heaven. And that this mantra, the Buddha said, is so precious that you recite it, you reflect on this, and you meditate on this, will help us to accumulate enormous merit required for us to follow the path. Gadi gadi para gadi para samadhi bodhisattva. So the first part, Om, usually it is not there, but some people they added. Ye dharma, these phenomena, hetu, cause, prabhava, arise. These phenomena arise from causes, meaning the experiences of happiness, experiences of pain that we go through, they arise from their causes. They don't arise causelessly. Hetum tesham, hetum, the plural form of the causes, the plural form of causes. Tesham is their causes. Tathagata, the Buddha, or the one who has gone to the thusness or the ultimate. Here that is taught, these causes or their causes, the causes of the suffering, cause of the happiness, what these causes are, particularly with the cause of the miseries which we dislike, they are taught by the Tathagata. Tesham Chayo is these Tesham Chayo, which Nirodha, cessation of these, Evam, thus, Vadi, again taught, Mahashramana, the great saint, the great seer, yes, Vaha, this is established. Meaning that how to bring an end to how to bring an end to the causes of these miseries is also taught by the great saint, great seer. Okay, this is what we need to remember. And in a day-to-day life, each one of us, you, myself, each one of us, just see that if we are identifying the causes of the suffering and if we are staying away from the causes of the suffering, and say the contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and the self-grasping ignorance. So this is what we need to think of and see that if as we recite this mantra, this should be like the reminder for us that this is what I should be doing. Am I doing it correctly or not correctly? And am I progressing? Gade gade para gade, whether or not that is happening. Okay, with this mind, we'll say this 3 times together. And imagine that all beings are joining you, and the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are watching us. And meanwhile, as we recite this, just see if you can reflect on the meanings, and as much as possible to invoke the experiences altogether. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. The meaning of the mantra: all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Okay, as indicated here, the cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. The causes to see things as objectively real. And then from there, everything starts. Okay, this is so the amazing concept. First, we try to understand it intellectually, then try to see that it makes sense to us, and then finally try to imbibe with these experiences. Say how things come into being by a projection or mind. Say the glass of water, actually it's just a bunch of atoms. And then we see as a water, that's pure perception. And with this perception, we are unaware that it's a perception. First, we project, and then we are unaware that it's a projection, and then we see these are objectively real. When you see this objectively real, then they, whatever you project them to be moving, that affect us. When we're affected, then we react. This is karma. And the karma gives rise to the miseries. This is how the Buddha taught this beautifully, it's amazingly profound, and so beneficial for us to know this, unfold this, and then your faith in the Buddha simply increases, simply soars like anything else. This is the intelligent people's or the wise people's way of generating faith in the Buddha. So this is the reality. Only then can we expect to be liberated from samsara. Okay. So the point is that to see things objectively real, that is cause of suffering. And the moment you see shift, all these objects which are operating, the functionalities, all this what is operating there, we shift them. Do things exist? Yes. Do things exist objectively? No. Which means that now we don't dissolve the objects, we shift the objects from the objectivity to the subjectivity. So that we are not altering the operation of the cause and effect. Cause and effect is still operating, but we are shifting them from objectivity, inner perception, from the objectivity to the subjectivity. So we're not altering the cause and effect. Cause and effect, everything is so, say, efficaciously exist there. We are in our mind, we just shift where, in which domain they exist, from the objectivity to the subjectivity. The moment you shift them, you're able to shift them effectively to the subjectivity domain, then from the object, what's left there? Nothing is there from the object. When that comes to you, then this wake up. You wake up, nothing is there truly there in the dream. It was just my dream. So this is when you wake up. The moment you wake up, then you are least affected by any factors from the dream or any factors that your mind projects. Okay, this is so precious for all of us. Okay, with this mind, now we are on the text, page 44, stanza 143, which reads, reasoning of dependent origination to establish a view of selflessness. Okay, it reads, so for anything emanated by magician, so our projection, so like this, just a bunch of water, a bunch of atoms, our mind projects as water. Again, a bunch of atoms. Our mind projects as a flower. Again, a bunch of atoms. Our mind projects as a human being, male, female, and so forth. It's just a bunch of atoms. So there, our mind projects. It's like illusion. So for anything emanated by magician, you are like the magician who projects, who emanates, or anything emanated by causes. Say the causes are there, which are also projected by your own mind. Finally, your mind is the cause. Emanated by causes. If what is produced exists intrinsically from the object, then examine where all these things come from. They come from nowhere, from your mind. And where do they go? They don't go anywhere. It's just a pressure of your mind. Just like examine this, and you will not be able to see anything objectively coming, going, and so forth. So in this connection, this who has the control of this sharing? Tom. Okay, Tomla, you can show the morning, the first prayer which we did. Just in the second verse, we read Nagarjuna's stanza. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So what Bodhisattva said is so well reflected here in this the praise to the Buddha Shakyamuni by Nagarjuna as the Bodhisattva tradition to Buddha Shakyamuni in the fundamental wisdom of the middle way, the Mula Madhyamika Karika. So when Nagarjuna said, independent origination, there's no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going. So there are 8 phenomena which dominate our world, which dominate your existence, your happiness, your miseries, your friends, your family, the COVID, and all these world, the wars, the conflicts, and all these the conflicts happening in Afghanistan and so forth. All these things, they are dominated by these 8 phenomena known as ceasing, arising, coming, going, separateness, sameness. Same, let's say ceasing and arising. Okay, now the COVID is ceasing. We are so happy. Now the COVID Delta variant is now arising. It's very sad. It's extremely scary. So arising and ceasing. Annihilation and permanence. Okay, swine flu. Okay, it's gone, annihilated completely. I'm so happy. Now this COVID-19, the Delta variant is so like it's permanent now. So it is always taking a different form. It's like permanent, it's no good. And how I wish that the world has a permanent peace. No coming, no going. So say the family members, when the child is born, everybody celebrates. When somebody dies, people mourn. And when somebody, a bad person dies, people celebrate. And good people dies, people mourn. So it says, they say they're coming and going. People come, people go. No separateness, no sameness. Again, there's, okay, this is my property. No, this is not your property. This is my property. It's about, so it's not yours and it's mine. So that these two are separate. I and you, attachment to self, aversion to the others. So that's you see the duality, separation there. And some say, no, we are not separate. The parents will say, no, you are not separate, you are one family. And the children said, no, we are different family. So some people crave for separateness. Some people crave for the sameness. And then those who are separate, seeking separateness, they're not getting it, they're in problem. Some people, they crave for the oneness, they don't get it, there's a problem. So all these, the whole world, how the world is operating is on the basis of these 8 phenomena. And if you realize that these 8 phenomena which govern the whole universe, they're all like projection, then your mind will be freed from every angle of the world, of the universe, our existence. So it says, no separateness and no sameness. Prostrate to the consummate Buddha. Who taught this? So if you, how can you realize that all these 8 phenomena which govern the whole universe, they don't really truly exist. They are like dream. Who taught that? They're like dream, and then you stop to be being affected by the contents of the dream. Who taught this amazing concept, which is really there to liberate us? Is taught by the consummate Buddha, the complete awakened one, consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers. There are so many teachers who teach a different, philosophy and so forth. But who is the best of the teacher? The best of the teachers is one who can teach me the best of the thing that I like. What is the best of the thing that we like? We like the fearlessness and we like the infinite happiness. And who's that teacher? The teacher who makes us to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. That is the best of teacher. So he said, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace. So there, in the experience of the ultimate reality, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, everything dissolves. What is left? Peace is left. The one who taught this peace, which is freed of elaborations. This peace, not like the world peace. Again, you see the peace of objectively real. No. Peace where all the objectivity dissolves with respect to your mind, where all the elaborations dissolve, which is freed of elaborations. This is so precious. Only then can we expect to be liberated, can we expect to experience the fearlessness. And who taught this? The consummate Buddha taught it. Okay, so this is what you find here in the Guided Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Here, stanza 143. Thank you. Okay. So for anything emanated by a magician, or like the dreaming mind, or anything emanated by causes, what is produced exists intrinsically then. Intrinsically. If what is produced exists intrinsically, if something does exist intrinsically or objectively, then examine where it comes from and where it goes. Then how to examine, subjecting them to ultimate analysis. Subjecting things to ultimate analysis, there's nothing going, there's nothing coming. So we presented by Nagarjuna in ways of the 8 phenomena to be all empty of true existence. 144. How can they be true existence in some virtual object like a reflection? Say, like a reflection, you see a mirage, you see water there, and later you come to realize that there's no water there. So, to your dismay, what you earlier saw as water was just mirage. Likewise, what we see is water here, this is just a bunch of atoms or like a mirage. And what you see is the person, my mom, my dad, brother, husband, wife, children, so forth, they're just like mirage. You see something, but objectively it's very different. How can they be true existence in some virtual object like a reflection, which is seen only in conjunction with something else and which does not exist when there is absence? So, how do you see water here? And they, okay, and why don't you see water here? In my left hand, I see water. You see water. On my left, on my right hand, you see what? The curd. Curd, not water. So why we see water only here? But both are equally same in ways that both are made of atoms. And on the atomic level, when you see on the atomic level, no water exists on my right hand, on my left hand, as well as on my right hand. But on my left hand, from distance, you see water because of the factors, causes and conditions, and the impure mind combined together, then a perception of water comes. When these causes and conditions are missing, then the perception of water doesn't come. If the perception of water comes, that is totally non-existent phenomena. Okay, so whereas here, the water does exist subjectively. When causes and conditions and your mind, impure mind comes there, then it appears as water. That's it. That's water, not beyond that. 144. How can there be true existence in some virtual object like a reflection, which is seen only in conjunction with something else, like the water, the atoms, all this combined together, and then a water is seen, and which does not exist, and the water, seeing water, does not exist at all. What is seen as water does not exist at all if all these atoms are gone. So atoms are not water. But when the atoms are there, then your mind projects water in the air. In the essence of the atom, you cannot project the water. reasoning to establish emptiness from the viewpoint of effect. Okay, so now for this, what we need to learn is that, again, what we did the first session, cause and effect. If things exist objectively means truly or independently. If things exist truly or independently or objectively, then things should not be dependent on any other things. So the effect should be totally independent of the cause, and the cause should be also independent of the effect. If this is the case, then the cause has no role to the production of the effect. 145, for a functional thing that is existent, what need is there for a cause? Say, for example, if you talk about the effect, or the existing effect, then it's not effect, because they say it's already there. You don't need anything else to produce it, because it's already there. For a functional thing that is existent, what need is there for a cause? So, for example, if you already had your lunch, and then they somebody said, okay, I'll prepare lunch for you. What's the use? No use, because I already had my lunch. The purpose of lunch is to keep yourself full and is fulfilled. Now, what's the use of that? Okay. For a functional thing that is existent, what need is there as a cause? Because if it already exists, then what's the purpose of the cause? Cause is to bring something which was non-existent. If it already exists, there's no purpose for the cause. Then again, if that is non-existent, if the apple tree is non-existent, then what can the cause do? Because the cause, objectively, these are all provided you believe in objective existence. When you believe in objective existence, then they become independent of each other. If it is non-existent there, no cause can contribute to the arising of this, because the fruit and the effect and the cause, these two are independent of each other, and the cause cannot contribute to the arising of the effect. If it is non-existent, the cause cannot do anything. If it exists, there's no need of the cause. 146. There can be no transformation of a non-existent thing into an existing thing. Okay, now let's say that we say that, okay, never mind. Apple seed and apple tree. At the time of the apple seed, there's no apple tree. But the apple seed, at the time of the apple seed, what is there? There's the absence of the apple tree. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. At the time of the apple seed, there's the absence of the apple tree. Now, when we say apple seed will transform into apple tree, apple seed will transform into apple tree, means that non-apple tree, apple seed is non-apple tree. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. Apple seed or the non-apple tree, at time apple seed, there's no apple tree. So non-apple tree should become the apple tree the next moment. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Okay, let me say this again. Apple seed and apple tree. Or let's say 2020 and 2021. Or maybe better would be more relevant. 2021 and 2022. 2021, at the time of 2021, 2022 is absent. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. So what is absent of 2022 will eventually become 2022. How many agree with me? After December, December 30 or 31st of the 2021, then 2022 arises. Very good. Okay. So now the non-2022 will become 2022 at a certain period of time. Likewise, the non-apple tree will become the apple tree over time. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. Good. Now, the non-apple tree, to become an apple tree, non-apple tree, will it disappear or will it continue to stay and then the apple tree comes? So we'll all say non-apple tree will disappear when the apple tree comes. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Okay, very good. Now, the non-apple tree and the apple tree if these two are objectively real, the two should become independent of each other. This is so important. When I was studying the emptiness class as a student, saying the results are dependent on the courses. When you say results are dependent courses, this is not only the Madhyamikas, even the Vaibhashikas, Sautrantika, Chittama, they all accept. And then the Lama Tsongkhapa said that results are dependent on the causes. From this, you should be able to see the emptiness. Then I was struggling, literally struggling. How? Results are dependent on the causes. Yes, that's very obvious. Results are dependent on causes. So the causes, they become the results. That's obvious. So from there, how can I understand emptiness? Which means the results are not independent. Results are not independent. If this is how we understand it, this is what even the Vaibhashikas, Sautrantika, Chittama, all these schools understand it. That's very gross. It's not subtle. So how can I understand that when Lama Tsongkhapa says that they say the dependent origination, through seeing dependent origination, particularly causal dependent origination, you should be able to see emptiness. How does it happen? So I was really struggling. These are the areas where all of us have to struggle. And if possible, try to keep nagging the Geshes, Kempos, or anybody, somebody who is a learned person. Keep nagging them, right? And don't keep nagging only one person, right? The person, whatever the person say, already said, and then nothing new will come, right? So keep nagging different people. Okay. And then meanwhile, not just keep nagging somebody else, you also nag yourself by reading more, study more, reflect more. So finally, these must come through your own reflections, supported by somebody else's given directions or teachings, and particularly the great teachings of the Arya-Nagarjuna, Acharya Chandrakriti, Bodhisattva Shantideva. Okay, these are very important. Okay. 146. Oh, yes, 146. Okay. There can be no transformation of a non-existent thing, non-cause. Same, apple seed. Okay, let's say apple seed and apple tree. At the time of apple seed, non-existence of apple tree. Apple seed and apple tree. At the time of apple seed is non-existent of apple tree. So there can be no transformation of non-existent thing, which is the absence of apple tree. Absence of apple tree at the time of apple seed into existent thing. The next moment, this non-existent become non-existent. Non-existent of apple tree become existent of apple tree. This is not possible because existence of apple tree and the previous moment, non-existent apple tree, these two are disconnected if things exist objectively or truly. So these two are totally unrelated. Next, even by means of 100 million causes, how can a thing in that state of non-existence of apple tree become an existent as apple tree the next moment? Because these two are totally unrelated. These two are totally unrelated. Okay. But what else could be transformed into an existent functional thing? Then let's say that at the time of the apple seed, the non-existent apple, the tree is there, and second moment is the apple tree. So if this non-existent of the apple tree does not transform into the apple tree, then what transformed into the apple tree? You will say the apple seed. Apple seed. So the apple seed, the same through ultimate analysis, we see that what is apple seed there, and if things do exist objectively, then through ultimate analysis you'll be able to see that. And if you see something, they should be totally disconnected. It should be like, let's say that these two glasses simultaneously exist in two glasses. These two are totally unrelated. These two are unrelated. Okay, if there's two unrelated, if these two are unrelated, totally unrelated, disconnected, then one cannot contribute to the other. 147, since functional things cannot possibly exist at the time of the absence of the function thing, when will they come to exist as functional things? Okay, let's say then now the apple seed and the apple tree, and since functional things, let's say apple tree as the functional thing, cannot possibly exist at the time of the absence of functional thing. Apple tree cannot possibly at the time of the absence of the apple tree. When is the absence of the apple tree? Apple seed, time of the apple seed. Okay, let me say it again. Apple seed and apple tree. We say apple seed at this time, there's the absence of the apple tree. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. So the apple tree is after the apple seed. At the time of apple seed, there's the absence of apple tree. Now, since functional thing here, let's say the apple tree. Apple tree cannot possibly exist at the time of the absence of the functional thing, which means apple tree cannot exist at the time of the absence of the apple tree. How many agree with me? And when is the absence of the apple tree? At the time of apple seed. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. Okay. So now, when will they come to exist as functional things? Now, if the apple tree is a functional thing, if it is absent at the time of the apple seed, then from the absence of the apple tree, how can it become the apple tree? Because apple tree should come out of what is related to that, which means what is a causal factor for that. And what we've seen as what we call as a cause, apple seed, or the absence of the apple tree, and the next moment apple tree. These two are two moments, like these two glasses, or like my two hands, two simultaneous hands existing together, or two simultaneous people together, which are unrelated. If that is the case, then what I said before, that since functional things cannot possibly, if let's say that if in the house, from the house, somebody comes out from the house. A person A comes out from the house. And from there, what you can say is that, oh, this person A was, before let's say at 12 o'clock, the person comes out from the house. And you, oh, I see. I thought that there was no one in this house before 12 o'clock. Now at 12 o'clock, the person A came out of this house, which means the person A was in the house before 12 o'clock. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Because it is the same person who came out and who should be there in the house before 12 o'clock. Likewise, say the apple tree, like the person A came out from the apple tree, no, apple seed, absence of the apple tree. So absence of the apple tree or the apple seed, for easy sake, apple seed, more complicated, absence of apple tree. Absence of apple tree and the apple tree, these two are totally disconnected. Objectively, if it exists, totally disconnected. If there's a case, then how can one come out of the other if these two are not related, if these two are disconnected? When will they come to exist as functional things? Without production of a functional thing. Okay, now if something does not arise, apple tree does not arise, then the absence of apple tree will remain as absence of apple tree all the time. Without production of a functional thing like apple tree, then a non-thing, which means absence of apple tree, cannot be freed from being a non-functional thing, which means that absence of apple tree will forever remain as the absence of apple tree. It can never be freed, meaning it will never become non-absent of apple tree. Okay, how many of you got some sense, if not full? Raise hands. Okay, very good. I'm glad. Okay. Next, 148. without being freed from if the absence of the apple tree always remains like this, then the apple tree will never come out of it, because the apple tree and absence of the apple tree cannot be together all the time, cannot be together. Either there should be apple tree or the absence of the apple tree. If the absence of the apple tree continues, then the apple tree will never come into existence. Without being freed from non-functional thing means non-functional thing remains like this. No occasion will occur for a functional thing, the apple tree, to exist. Okay, these are all the logical discussions happening, and how many you feel little lost, or say your mind feels little heavy? Raise hands. Okay. If this happens to you, and you identify that, you are very lucky. And the 7 billion human beings on this earth, they even don't identify that such things are there, which will make your mind a little heavy, right? And you could identify this. But once you identify this, you try to study this. Try to study this, go through this again. And I'm not too sure. There's a commentary by His Holiness the Dalai Lama in English. Of course, in Tibetan, there are many commentaries. But in English, there is a commentary by His Holiness. What is that? Georgie, do you know that? Oh, the Shala, you know that? In fact, there are 2 commentaries. One is very short commentary, and that commentary for sure will not go into details like what I'm doing now. There's another commentary which is a little more the perfection, just right commentary on chapter 9 by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Most likely 2 commentaries will come out, and the one more detailed one. Just see how that's been explained there. Okay, so the point is that, but still don't expect that, these are all like, our mind has to be exercised. Our mind has to be exercised to understand this logic, from absence of functional thing becoming a functional thing. If the absence of functional thing continues, then the functional thing will never arise. If the functional thing never arises, then the functional thing, apple tree, coming out of the apple seed will never happen. All these reasonings cannot be seen. So for that, one, the reason should be there, like these materials. Then number 2, that your mind should be ready. For example, say like the software and the hardware. And the hardware, if you bring the hardware of the, say like 1990, then you put the new software, it not work, right? So the hardware must be upgraded, which means our intelligence must be upgraded for these nuanced discussions and debates to make sense in us. So this process of learning that we're doing, and if we don't need you to be too intelligent. We need your enthusiasm. If you have the enthusiasm, okay, a little heaviness will come, don't worry. If you have the enthusiasm, and try to listen to understand. If you don't understand it, don't give up. Again, try to understand. In the process, again, the scratching happens, and your intelligence keeps growing. Then over time, you will understand it. This is how it works. One time, there was one of my teachers. Who he passed away. Of course, he's a brilliant teacher, a great logician, philosopher, a psychologist, and a practitioner, a really enlightened practitioner. And his nephew. Okay, it may sound a little judgmental. His nephew was hopeless. He was really hopeless. And then, okay, in fact, I have many teachers of these, particularly there are 2 teachers. both of them, their nephews were the assistants, the attendants. And one nephew of one teacher, he was, at that point, he was not really as real attendant. He was very young then. He must be aged like 20, 21, 22. And then he was, I don't know what happened. Their uncles, the top debaters, the logicians, the practitioners in the huge university, monastic university, and their nephews, they were terribly dull. I don't know what's the connection. And the nephew of one teacher, in his exam, he scored 4 out of 100. And minimum you should score 33. And he scored 4 out of 100. And his uncle was the top debater in the philosopher. And his uncle, among the students of his uncles, they were the abbots, and all these big people were there as students of his uncle. And the nephew, was not at all the intelligent. He just scored 4 out of 100. And he did not dare to go to report this to his uncle, because he was bringing, the embarrassment to his uncle, pulling down the uncle's the fame. And he had to go eventually. He cannot stay away from the uncle altogether. So one day he went there, and then the uncle asked, okay, oh, you sat for exam? Then he said, yes, my uncle. Then the uncle asked that, okay, how much did you get? Then he was literally he was shivering, and he said 4 out of 100. Then he was expecting the uncle really shouting, screaming at him, and the uncle said, wow, that's amazing. Uncle said, that's amazing. I was not really expecting 4 out of 100. I was expecting 0, but you scored 4. That's amazing. He was so relieved. Okay, this is one part. Now the second part, another teacher, again his nephew who was attended, he was again not intelligent. But he's so good. He is so good for me. He is extremely good to me. So his uncle, of course, a very popular teacher, and all the senior classes, junior classes, they were rushing to have class with him. And then all these classes, somehow the timetable made was really chaotic. So 2 or 3 classes come together at the same time. And then this attendant of the teacher, he sees me, he will say, Damdul means the Venerable Damdul, referring to a senior monk. Oh, Damdul, your class, come. So we get lots of extra classes because of the attendant. And he's really not really intelligent. So one time I was joking. He came to my room, and I was just, actually, I was a little naughty. I just asked him, okay, you are a very fortunate person because you are 24 hours with my teacher. And we don't get this privilege to be with our teacher. We could only about like 2 hours in 1 week. And you 24 hours, every day you are with my teacher. So my teachers, all these legacies, the teachings are with you. You have to share with us. And and it's all about debate, philosophy, psychology. And then he was saying, no, you're joking. I said, no, it's your responsibility to share with us. Otherwise, the point of you being with our teacher for 24 hours. He said, no, you're joking. I said, no, I just put on a very serious face. And said, no, you have to share with us. You have to tell me now. Tell me what, our teacher teaches on emptiness. Tell me first, emptiness. Then he would say, no. But I was on the verge to sit for Geshe degree, and he knows that. He is extremely kind to me. And he said, no. I said, no, you have to say this. Otherwise, you are being extremely unkind, very selfish. Then he started to share about emptiness. I was just putting on a very serious face. So like, you know, and I'm here all this for the first time. Then I would say once in a while, I comment, wow, that's amazing. And then he just continues. And suddenly he, you know, remembers that, okay, I should not be saying like this with him. Again, he would just say, oh no, I don't know. So again, I scold him. Again, he would share. And believe it or not, if I'm somebody who do not know my teacher, Venerable Geshe Wangchen La, who do not know him, then listening to him, you will feel that he is an incredibly brilliant philosopher and a logician. The reasonings that he gives, they are so good. Wow, deep inside me, a deep admiration came to him. Although he never, you know, sit for the exams, the monastic exams, because he was hopeless. But how he was presenting about emptiness, I was so fascinated. And the end of the day, I asked him, okay, now you have to speak to me on Bodhisattva. Again, I made him to speak on Bodhisattva, really giving, this is so precious. So where you simply keep hearing something over and over again, no doubt your intelligence grows. This is what for sure happens. And then it's very important to gradually identify, for example, like the quality control in the product, the production, the products being made in the companies. So there's a quality control. Quality control meaning that, okay, everything's fine, but where are we going wrong? We have to identify the very small mistakes which can potentially be, you know, unnoticed. So sometimes people give these mobiles once produced but not in the market, produce, you know, give them to some volunteers like 50, 60 people and let them operate this machine, and then let them identify the drawbacks or the limitations. And then whosoever could identify these, you will be given, you know, let's say you'll be awarded for this. You'll be given incentives. You'll be given, you know, the money for you being able to identify some mistakes there. So that is something which we have to do. After learning things, the broad picture you get, now to go into the nuances is very important for us to identify where I cannot connect things to get to emptiness. What is emptiness? To get a feeling of voidness, where your goosebumps will come in your body. Goosebumps will come in your body, and to feel physiologically, you could feel that your emotions like anger, attachment, jealousy, and the fear, anxiety, they instantly subsides within you. You could feel it. If that comes to you, whether or not your experience 100% the precisely emptiness, that's questionable, but it is closer towards the emptiness experience. You are going in that correct direction. That's very important. Okay. Okay, next, 148. Without being freed from non-functional things, no occasion will occur for a functional thing to exist. Okay, that's done. And functional thing cannot change to a state of non-functionality. Okay, not only the non-functionality cannot be changed to functionality, even the functionality, for example, let's say the COVID-19, and then there's somebody say contracts COVID-19, or the COVID becomes diagnosed COVID positive. Then after about like eight days, then the COVID will disappear. You may have still the remnants in the form of your the struggling for oxygen and so forth. Otherwise, the COVID per se will disappear in 9 days. So let's say that COVID, existence of COVID, and then after 8 days to become non-COVID, non-existence of COVID to non-existence of COVID, same thing. From the non-COVID to the COVID. I was COVID to non-COVID. So there, COVID becoming non-COVID. So thing becoming non-thing. Thing saying, if again, if things exist the way we believe as objective real, then these two should not be connected. Should not be connected. If these two connected, if these two are not connected, then they should become independent of each other. If independent, the other side cannot affect you. Then the COVID, it should remain COVID all the time. Non-COVID should remain non-COVID all the time. So COVID cannot give rise to non-COVID. Non-COVID cannot give rise to COVID. And the functional thing cannot change to a state of non-functionality, because then it would absurdly follow that it had two natures. Okay, now on the what is said is that if the non-COVID becomes the COVID, then non-COVID and COVID, they should be independent. Still, if it becomes non-COVID, then the non-COVID becomes COVID. Then where COVID is there, non-COVID should also there, because that is not affected, that continues. And an additional thing came. COVID came, where there's non-COVID. Non-COVID, COVID, the same object should be seen as COVID as well as non-COVID. Two natures simultaneously, flower and non-flower, or Buddhahood, the Buddha and non-Buddha together. So this is not possible, because then it would absurdly follow that it had two natures. Two natures meaning the thing and the non-thing, good and not good, bad and not bad. So the two natures should be within this same object, which is not feasible. 149. In that way, okay, now with this, what we are saying is that, say, if something exists, it should continue to exist. It should never cease. If something is non-existent, it should forever remain non-existent. It should never arise. So arising and ceasing is not possible. Arising and ceasing is not possible. And I say that this world is operating on the basis of the arising and ceasing, believe it or not. Whole world, whole universe is operating on the basis of these two functions, arising and ceasing. For example, morning you wake up, this is arising, and in the night you go to sleep, this is ceasing of the one day. 2020 ceased, 2021 arose. Then 2021 will cease, 2022 will arise. And then the COVID arose in 2019, late 2019. Now, hopefully, it will come to cease. So everything, say all the composite phenomena, they all operate on the basis of the arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing. And this arising and ceasing, if you believe in objective existence, you cannot posit the phenomenon of the arising and ceasing. If that is the case, then you cannot account for the functionality of the world. Okay, 149. In that way, as cessation does not truly exist, and the arising of functionality, functional things does not truly exist either, all wandering beings means all sentient beings at all times never are truly arising or truly existing, which means that what we've seen as a child, giving birth to a child, and somebody dying, arising and ceasing, these are all like illusions. Once we come to know that they're all like illusions, literally, if you want to realize that they're all like illusions, then your emotions will be under control. Emotions will not fluctuate. The manner in which in the dream you're being thrown into the fluctuations of emotions, the moment you wake up, the contents of the dream cannot throw you into the fluctuations of emotions anymore. The moment you realize that whatever happened was a dream. So one mark of having realized emptiness is somebody who otherwise is very emotional. Then because of this study, reflection, meditation, and through some realization that your emotion comes under control, maintain balance, you're able to maintain the balance of the emotion, that is a mark. And there's not only a mark of the realization of emptiness, it's a great mark of the experience and having practiced the wisdom of emptiness. So to get the wisdom of emptiness, it is like getting the medicine. And then taking the medicine daily, that is like meditating on the wisdom. Okay, sameness summary, sameness samsara and nirvana on the ultimate level. Now on finally, it says that, okay, so now with these realizations, a study, reflection of all these are very precious. Say the 4 essentials, meditation on the emptiness on the basis of 4 essentials. Yes, it's very compact, it's very convenient, but we should not give up on the study of these complicated texts. These complicated texts will give you the weapon, the instruments to make things very sharp, and the sharpness of intelligence given to you. So this will help all your meditations become extremely clear and productive. Okay, stanza 150. Therefore, wandering beings or sentient beings resemble dreams. Okay, just think of this water. What do we see is water? Through electron microscope, we just see just a bunch of atoms. Where's the water which we saw earlier? Where is it? Where is it? Then you will, initially, you will be in a fix. You don't know where it is. Gradually, you become real. Oh, it's just a mere perception. It's just coming from a mind. Okay, that will become more and more stable. So with this, even the human beings, even the animals, even the sentient beings are all like your projection of your own mind. Just a bunch of atoms, that's it. And then the bunch of the 5 elements of the 6 elements, the bunch of 5 aggregates, that's it. And then from there, your mind perceives as a human being. Your mind perceives as of the father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, and so forth. That's it. Or your mind perceives. Beyond this, there's nothing there as this person, that person, so forth. Object, there's nothing there. It's just your projection. This is the first step that we need to get. That what I'm seeing is just a mere perception. Still, it doesn't mean that you've realized emptiness. It has many, say, milestones to cover. Okay. Therefore, wandering beings or sentient beings resemble dreams. Upon analysis, they're like plantain trees. Plantain trees meaning that there's a tree which seems so strong, you cut it, inside it's just hollow. There's nothing there to be identified as a tree. Whether they are released or not from sorrow, ultimately there's no difference. Same, okay, this is water. This is, let's say, curd. On the atomic level, there's no difference. On the atomic level, say let's say on the electron subatomic level, on the subatomic level, which is electrons, protons, neutrons, there's no difference at all between these 2 things. There's no difference between boys and girls. On that level, it's just the same, but just a bunch of atoms, that's it. There's no boy atoms or there's no girl atoms. There's nothing. What we see, this undeniable difference in the gender, in the nationality, and so forth, undeniably existent differences, they're there on one level. But on an objective level, all these differences make no sense. So they're like dream. Ultimately, they're released or not from sorrow. Ultimately, there's no difference. Advice on the need to strive to realize emptiness. What is reality? With phenomena empty in that way, empty objectively, what is there to gain? What is there to lose? What throws us into emotions because of the loss and the gain? When you gain something, that's a sense of achievement. Then you feel inflated. When there's a loss, you feel as though like, your whole world is shattered. So what is there to gain? What is there to lose? Who's there to respect or scorn? And we are so attached to our what is called as the status, Oh, so I deserve respect from you, or that person deserves respect. This person not. Of course, on the conventional level, yes. But if you see everything that from the object, there's nothing really there, then all these concepts will not affect you anymore. Who is there to respect or scorn? From where does pleasure or pain arise? What is there to dislike or like? When investigated at the ultimate level, what objects craved by? Craved by what? By which agent? Okay, let's say that, any object particularly. If you're successful in this endeavor to see that what I'm seeing is not really there. And within that, there are many layers. And once you get some feel of that, and then they say things that arouse emotions within you, sadness, attachment, anger, irritation, so forth, And when you feel, just try to observe this feeling of the emotion within you that your mind is stirred. Just try to observe it. Once you observe it, let's not forget it. Let's not forget what you've observed, what you experienced, and then try to meditate on that particular object which the sage you triggered these emotions. Try to meditate on this particular object to see the emptiness nature. As you get some clue of the emptiness of this object, then look at the earlier, say, the imprints of the emotions left in the mind. These imprints will simply diminish. Instantly you can feel it. This is so precious, so precious. Okay. 153. Upon analysis, what world of living beings is there that will die here? Who is there who will come into existence? Who is there who has existed? Who is a relative and who is a friend? These are all. It's just projection for mind, and on that basis, tremendous attachment to my family, there's an aversion to the people who challenge you. All these emotional stirs happen because of viewing things as object real. Okay. Now the next, okay, just for information, this is what I'd like to share with you. That's good. That I think 2013, early morning, one early morning at about like 8 o'clock, you may think that, okay, he's saying 8 o'clock is very early. Okay, with respect to His Holiness's office to call me. That is the early morning I'm talking about. At 8 o'clock, I received a call from the secretary of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. His Holiness was in a hotel in Delhi. And at 8 o'clock, I received a call. And the office car comes to pick me up only at 9:30 or 10. And it's just 8 o'clock. And the secretary said that if you're free, His Holiness wants you here. So when he calls you, there's no free, no free, no free or free. There's no difference, right? You should be free. So I said, yes, I'm free. Then I rushed. I don't know what car. No, in those days, no Uber, no Ola. I just took something from the road, whatever. Even I don't remember that. And then reached there, and then His Holiness gave me, many instructions. And then he said that when you conduct big programs, why don't you do this ceremony of taking aspiration Bodhisattva vow for everybody? His Holiness said. And we already have been doing, particularly related to the Bodhisattva retreats. We've been doing this every day. And I said that, yes, Your Holiness, this is what we've been doing. And then His Holiness said, wow, that's good. So it came to my mind, and I was telling this, and you already started doing it before I said it to you. Okay, and then he said that at the part of the meditation, emptiness part, he said that, why not you include this from precisely from here, which is stanza 150. Okay, in Tibetan it is Dua Milam Tabute. This is the Tibetan form, Dua Milam Tabute. Okay, and then His Holiness even said this word, Dua Milam Tabute. From there you can add, when you do the meditation emptiness part, you can add from these verses till the end of this chapter. And then His Holiness said that, and if people complain that, what is Dorji doing? He's creating something new tradition, then don't worry, just clean your hand to the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama said it. Just say like this. This is what His Holiness said. Okay, so therefore this is very precious. I'm just sharing with you. And if you are, and of course, it's not that if you are, we should be doing meditation emptiness on a daily basis. And once in a while, you may have some urgent work, you cannot do that. Otherwise, we should be doing meditation emptiness. And at the end, we'll do a simple meditation emptiness. Okay, so then we can add these from verses and different meanings. And particularly, okay, from this, 150 down. Okay. And now from stanza 154 down, so this is about, say, the reinforcing your compassion towards the beings. Why say the if a mother has say 2 children, and the elder child is extremely the intelligent, well-mannered, and everybody in the school loves the child loves the child, whereas the younger child, very naughty, mischievous, always sick, and so forth, then the mother's mind will go after the younger child. Most of the mothers. Some mothers, they are a little biased, some. But most of the mothers who are really genuinely after the children, then their mind will go after the younger one, because the elder one already receives lots and lots of love from others. Younger one is not receiving any love from anybody else, because the younger one is very naughty and does not have something to make other people they feel the child as lovable. So whereas the elder one has all these qualities, so the mother's mind will go after the younger child. Likewise, when you really practice compassion towards all the beings, then when we see that in what way the beings are suffering terribly, when we know that, then your compassion really becomes powerful. And that particularly how the sentient beings are suffering because of the self-grasping ignorance, because of being sucked up in the dream and not knowing the dream is dream. With this, then your compassion, particularly you, having clue as to how to come out of the dream, and getting clue that things are all like dream, and what's the benefit, seeing the benefit of waking up from sleep of ignorance, and that you will be totally fearless. So when that feeling comes to you, and then when you think of how the beings are suffering because of being sucked up, being entrenched in the dream, seeing the dream is real, then your compassion is reinvigorated or reinforced. Okay, so these are the verses. 154, those of my type, please understand that everything is like a space. Space meaning there's nothing really there from objectively. Just as the space, there's nothing there to say that this is space. It's just empty. Likewise, identify everything to be empty of objective reality. But those wishing for happiness, for self, get agitated and overexcited. The beings who wishing for happiness, then in the dream, there's some dream. In the dream, they're struggling for the things, expecting to get happiness, and they are struggling to get into the things which they think will give the sadness or the miseries to them. In the process, they feel agitated and overexcited. 155. Through causes such as fights and festivities, how the beings they suffer. So if you look at the world, we see that people in the families, there are domestic violence. In the family, there are property fights over the properties. And on the global level, there are always cold wars, war conflicts happening, one bullying other. This is how the world operates. And so it says that, look at the world. Through causes such as fights and festivities, where the festivities, oh, it's my birthday, it's my this, and then if nobody greets you, you feel so sad. If people greet you, then you are just checking how many people greeted me. Very complicated. And then the people, say that the Christmas, the Tibetan New Year, Chinese New Year, Diwali, and so forth. And then what happens over time? They become burden. They become burden, right? Because you have to give presents, and presents become very expensive, right? And sometimes one person, you may not like to give expensive gifts, but you have to give because this is a tradition. And then they say just for the preparation, the coming closer to Christmas, or closer to Diwali, or closer to Tibetan New Year, or the Chinese New Year, oh, again, there's going to be heavy expense on me to buy the gifts. These are all extra burdens. We don't celebrate. It remains as a festival just in the name. Mind is being tortured. This is a big problem for many people. Okay. Then from the resulting the distress and overexertion and disheartening disputes They cut and stab each other, thus passing their lives in tremendous difficulties due to their negative deeds. There are so many unseen things underground. Terribly unimaginable things are happening underground. Terrible bad things happening. And we are lucky that we are not part of these things. Terrible. And we should be feeling so sorry. We should be praying for these people who are terrible suffering without any voice. These are all what described here. They are actually happening. 156. Then look, they say the Afghanistan, Taliban. Just imagine. I am sure that Biden did not get these ideas before he put all the soldiers. What about the women judges? What about the women professors? What about all these the women in the high positions? Did he ever think about these people? How many such thousands and thousands of women who are occupying very important positions in Afghanistan, who are actually lifting the Afghanistan and they giving some the prestige, or they bringing some the fame to the country. Now they all just go down. As they go down, the whole nation goes down. Did he really think about these? This is what I'm saying. So all these things are happening. So bad people are really doing bad things. And even the so-called good people, ignorantly, they are not seeing the repercussions. Terrible repercussions. This is just one part of the story. From the whole nation, the half of the nation becomes dead. Half the nation, the women. There are so many competent women who are actually being so active there. And to really see that Afghanistan is a nation that all become non-functional with the Taliban taking over. Did he really think about these, Biden? And these are suffering now. These are suffering. Okay, so these are all the realities. All what we read here, these are not just stories. This is actually happening now. Think about this, then you'll see that samsara is really very scary. I must have to do something for myself, and then by extension, to do for all the beings. Okay, 155. Through causes such as fights and festivities, then from the resulting distress and overexertion, and disheartening disputes, they cut and stab each other, thus passing their lives in tremendous difficulties due to their negative deeds. Then despite coming to the favorable states of birth over and over again, and so often experiencing manifold pleasures, after that they fall to the experience the unbearable sufferings of the bad states of birth for a very long time. In cyclic existence, cliffs to fall from are aplenty, and there in samsara one remains deprived of the understanding of reality of the emptiness, without which you cannot come out of samsara. But since samsara and nirvana mutually contradict one another, one unceasingly cycles in samsara. What we do is only relate to samsara, self-grasping ignorance, that's it, and then giving rise to attachment, anger, jealousy, fear, anxiety. This is how we live in the existence, that is samsara. In cyclic existence, nothing. Okay, this little bit of the translation improvement is required. Anyway, this is my translation. In cyclic existence, okay, let's say that nothing in cyclic existence compares with the realization of the reality. Nothing in cyclic existence. In other words, whatever in cyclic existence on the one side, and on the other hand, the wisdom of emptiness, if you compare the two, there's no comparison. Wisdom of emptiness is the one which will free you from the fears of samsara, and the cyclic existence, whatever is in cyclic existence, will only trap you in cyclic existence. 158. There too are incomparable and unbearable oceans of suffering beyond any end. In samsara, there's little strength. The lifespan is too short for us. 159. There as well, with activities for longevity, we put so much effort for our exercises, for our food, medical insurance, so forth, for expecting longevity and the health, with hunger, exhaustion, with sleep, harms, and likewise with fruitlessly keeping company with childish people. And the childish people, sometimes they are the karmic gifts of the childish people who unnecessarily creates problem in the family, in you. So karmically gifted as your family members. Some we voluntarily buy. Yeah, we voluntarily, oh, please come with me. We'll be together, and you come. I'm there to pay your problem. You can create problem on me, and sometimes you are there to create problem on others. This is how we live. Okay, there as well with activities 159. There as well with activities for longevity, health, with hunger and exhaustion, with sleep and harms, and likewise with fruitlessly keeping company with childish people. Life passes quickly and in vain. Yet analytical wisdom is so difficult to gain, the wisdom of emptiness. Furthermore, where is there in samsara a means to eliminate the habituated distractions towards objective reality, distractions towards then the offshoots of the pleasant things and so forth, attachment to pleasant things, fear from the unpleasant things. 161. Again, when making effort to be free, the demon is striving there to bring about a fall to the most awful states of birth. And when we do something good, again, there's something there to pull us back into samsara. Yet that happens. Say, for example, say you are going to attend a program, say like any Dharma retreat, Dharma studies and so forth, and then suddenly something happens and you have to call this off. So these obstacles are always there. 161. Again, when making effort to be free, the demon is striving there to bring about a fall to the most awful states of birth. In higher births, because there are too many false paths. False paths meaning there are so many in this world. There are so many traditions. There are so many systems saying that our system will give you the ultimate happiness, ultimate this, ultimate this. There are so many, and they are contradictory to each other. So there are so many wrong paths, and we can easily fall prey to one of these. Also, it's difficult to transcend doubt. Doubt. Okay, there is what is that? Dharma Friends of Israel. What is that? This is a center there. Is it not a cult? Again, people have doubt. With the good things, there's a doubt. With the bad things, people easily flow. 162. And it is difficult to gain respite again. And the appearance of the Buddha is extremely difficult to find. And the rapids meaning the very strong, forceful, the river and the streams of disturbing emotions are so difficult to abandon. Allah's suffering will just go on unceasingly. And they fail to see their own suffering, although they are infested with extreme suffering. Oh dear, this really is a cause to lament for those who are caught in the rapids of suffering. For example, some people perform ablutions. Ablutions are like consecration with the help of the sacred water. Ablutions and ablutions. Then they jump into the fire again and again. Even though in terrible states of suffering, they believe themselves to be happy, or these are the ways to salvation. This is what they believe. Like 165. Likewise, there are those who frolic about, those who play about, fooling around as if there were no old age and death. Right? When you're young, this is what we're, and this is something which the only few people can understand it. Otherwise, most people, when they're young, they see the old as old, that they are not going to become old. If you ask them, okay, you also going to become old one day, they'll say yes. That is from the brain, from deep inside. No, that we are young, right? And then sometimes it's good to see the people who we see as the mark of success or the mark of youth and so forth. Then the same people after after 20 years, particularly after 30 years, 40 years, and nowadays with the with the digital world, things are so easy. You can look for these. When you look at this, wow. If these people who can maintain what we call as maintain their, the physical, the flexibility and the physical, the shape or whatever. If these people go through such a unbelievable transformation from extremely enticing appearance to such a horrible appearance, then who are we? We cannot maintain that. And then we will no doubt become like this. And so these are extremely helpful, particularly for the younger ones. Those who are above 50, you have the experience. You have seen people who, when they're in the teenage, in the 20s, very enticing. And then now, so. You have seen that. But those who are young in their 20s, 30s, you have not really seen that. If you think about it, you can, and then you watch some of these, the clips, then it'll shock you, right? And for some days, your mind will be into Dharma. Yeah, it's very good. And if you try to maintain it, that'll be very helpful. Finally, this is exactly what is happening here, what is said here. Likewise, 165, there are those who frolic about, fooling around as if there were no old age and death. First, they will lose their lives, but eventually they reach age 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. First, they will lose their lives. And because they're not prepared to the next lives, they'll fall to a worse state of the rebirth. Okay, so finally, the last two verses as what can you do now for all these dear Mother Sentient beings? What can you do? So these are the two verses which you can include in your prayers. So what it says here, when shall I come to bring peace to those tormented by the fires of suffering like these, due to not waking up, due to being sucked up by the dream, with the rain of the happiness from my collections, pouring forth from the clouds of my merit, that I accumulate as much merit as possible, and through this, they say these merits may ripen in a form of rain shower of nectars to the beings, so that they are relieved from their suffering. And the second part about the emptiness. And when shall I intensely accumulate the store of merits through insight into the emptiness of the objects of apprehension, that I'll be able to see emptiness, and with the support of the incredible merit, and then teach emptiness to those who have been ruined by such an object of apprehension. Those who are ruined by seeing things as object of real. Pray that may I be able to teach emptiness to all the beings. Okay, that's it. So we will do a quick meditation on emptiness on the basis of the four essentials. Okay, just let us reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, particularly the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Are Nigarjuna, Acharya Chandragiri, Bodhisattva Shanti Deva, in a space in front of us. And Lama Selingpa and Lama Adishidemangara Shrigyana. And around you, your two parents, your children, your family members, and all dear Mother Sentient beings living on the side. And with so much of compassion towards all the beings, so much love towards all the dear Mother Sentient beings, just arouse the feeling that may I soon become Buddha to teach this wisdom and emptiness to all my dear Mother Sentient beings. Okay, we'll meditate on the emptiness of the, say, somebody who you love so much, your mother, your child, or your husband, your wife, or anybody who you love so much. And particularly somebody who you love not in ways of gender attraction, but because of your genuine affection, like the mother's love towards the child, something of this kind. And it can be between husband and wife also. It's very possible. Some husband and wife, the relationship is so beautiful. It's not just a gender attraction. It's so beautiful. So there's genuine sense of concern and love. Okay, just think of that person. Okay, how does this person appear to you? Like a dream that your mind is projecting it, or so independently there, so well defined as objectively there from the object. 100% is objectively there, not as like a dream projected by my mind. This perception and this belief is the self-grasping ignorance. How can I know? Remember what Arjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Likewise, if this person who I cherish so much, if this person were to exist as objectively the way he or she appears to me, why not I see same person as I go closer to this object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. Going closer to object, you are using the ultimate analysis. And in the process, whatever is not this person, just discard. You are looking for the objectively existent, the person who you love so much. Okay. Objective analysis means go closer towards the person, too close to the person. Going too close to this person, you see the thin layers of skin. Behind that, the fatty tissues. Behind that, the flesh, the cartilages, the muscles, and alongside the blood vessels and the skeleton, the bone marrows, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the spleen, the kidney, the intestine, abdomen. None of these solid parts is this person. These solid parts constitute element earth, element water, 4 liters of blood, which is pumped in and out by the heart to the different parts of the body. Of course, that is not that person. There's animal water. Next element of fire, the body heat, 2,700 joules of energy the person has. Of course, that is not that person. I can see this person from distance. I cannot see the body heat or the element of fire. Next element of air, 4.6 liters of air which he or she breathes in and out through the lungs. Of course, that is not that person. Element space, 99% of the person's body is constituted of the space. But this person is not a space. This person is not a person, a solid being. And the space is vacuum in nature. Even the space is also not this person. What's left now? The consciousness, the mind. Even the mind is also not the person. This person is a male, this person is a female. But this mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. Even this body is also not that person. Okay, now, none of these solid parts, none of these, I say the 6 elements, is that the person. Okay, never mind. If the person still exists as object real, keeping aside the 6 elements, there should be a self left there as different from the 6 elements. Okay, keeping aside 6 elements, what is there? Nothing is there. Stay in this experience. Okay, what you earlier saw as a person so objectively there, nothing to do with my mind. That is your identification of the essential identifying the object of negation, that this person to whom I love so much to be existing as objectively real. Now, going to this person, I just see the 6 elements. Okay, let us scan through the person once more. And earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Which of the 6 elements of this person is this person? None. If you are sure of this, you have understood the essential understanding, the emptiness of the objects being one with its parts, that none of these parts is to be identified as person. This fulfills the second essential. Okay, if none of these 6 elements of the person is the person, remove the 6th person to see if there's something different from the 6 elements. Keeping aside 6 elements, nothing is left there. Stay in this experience for a while. If you are sure, if you are 100% sure that keeping aside the 6 elements, there's nothing there to identify as the self, this is where you realize the essential understanding of the object, emptiness of objects being different from its parts. Okay, now these are the only 2 options for the person to exist objectively. Once you realize that none of these 2 options to be identifying either the 6 elements to be the self or different from the 6 elements of the self, when none of these 2 holds true, you are aware that then from the object there's nothing there to be identified as the self. Yes, if you're just sure of that, this is your understanding, essential understanding of the pervasion. The 4th one, pervasion, that anything which is empty of being one way then different from its parts entails the emptiness of the person. Okay, now my question to you is this object nowhere to be identified as the person? Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, having come to this stage, we will blend this with a 5-point meditation emptiness. Okay, earlier, the first time, what were you seeing? I was seeing my very, very dear, say the mom, dad, brother, sister, husband, wife, child, son, daughter, whatever. 6 elements, point number 2. Okay, just see this person in the light of 6 elements. Go into this, subjecting this person to ultimate analysis, you see the 6 elements. Go into this level, 6 elements. Earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Okay, 2 questions. Point number 3, 2 questions. Question 1, what do you see now? I'm just seeing the 6 elements. Stay in this experience. The 6 elements, they are so disconnected from each other. Like 6 different people put in one sack. Second question, where is this person? Objectively existent person. From the object, where is this person? From the object, nowhere to be seen. The person is nowhere to be seen. Stay in this experience. The person dissolves. Person is not there. Stay in this experience. This is the meditation on the space-like emptiness of the person. Okay. You are not inventing the emptiness person. You are discovering that this person from the object is empty. Okay, now imagine that you come out of the meditation. Okay, otherwise you come out. Gradually you come out of the meditation, come out. Now think of this person. Again, the person comes back to my mind, which means the person appears to my mind. The person appears to my subjective mind. From the object, 100%, I'm sure, through this analysis, through these 5 points, I come to realize that the person is empty, where I concluded with the space-like emptiness of the person. Now I'm seeing something on the subject. From the object, the person 100% empty. From the subject, still the person appears there. That is just a mere appearance. Mere appearance meaning is illusion. This is known as this awareness that this person is nothing more than the mere appearance happening with the mind. This is known as the meditation on the illusion-like nature of the person, illusion-like emptiness of the person. Okay, good. Come out now. Good. Okay, if you can do these, the 4 essentials, blend with the 5-point meditation. The first one is the person. Number 2, the 2 questions. Number 3. Okay, sorry. Number 1, the person. Number 2, the 6 elements. Number 3, the 2 questions. Number 4, the space like emptiness. Number 5, the illusion like emptiness. The 5 points. 4 essentials, blend with the 5, the 5 points. So these 5 points, this is the compilation from the various sources. It's not that, you will find what is known as a 5-point meditation emptiness. You will not find anywhere in the text. So this is just my compilation for the easy meditation purpose. Okay, so good. We are done. Now, 1 or 2 questions if you have. Please raise hands. Okay, Poon King.
Thank you, Geshe. My question, I've got 2 questions. And the first one is about the first point of the 4 essentials. I'm trying to, when meditating and finding this I, especially when I am upset or ugly or angry, I try to use that opportunity to find what, to locate that kind of I. What I find is just really just a natural feeling, and it's just a concept which I cannot relate to the intellectual constructs present in the various schools, like permanent, unitary, independent, or substantial existence, and so on. And is this mental concept in line with the so-called mere I present in the Prasangika? Because I feel that if I don't get the first point right, I can keep missing the target, when I do the subsequent points. Thank you.
Okay,
that's my first question.
Your question is very good. This is a very practical question. The thing is that when I was in my monastery studying, one thing that I discovered was that when I don't want to explore what this self is, then the self becomes so vibrant, comes out as very aggressive. When somebody says, "You stupid Dorji," then this Dorji becomes so strong, right? So it becomes so visible, so aggressively visible. When you really want to see what this self is like, when you really want this self to come out in your meditation, it disappears. It becomes like abstract idea, some kind of feeling, not easily, not what you can explain, some kind of abstract mental experience. That's it. Okay, this is which means that you are actually reflecting on the emptiness. Is so precious. Okay, and under such situation, what is important is that you have to continue your studies, not just happy with 1 text completed or 1 course completed. You must have to continue your studies on emptiness, particularly very standard texts like Acharya Chandrakriti's text. I would say for us, Acharya Chandrakriti's text would be very good. And then if there's a teacher who can really teach things in a very easy way, then Nagarjuna's text. Otherwise, Acharya Chandrakriti's text. Okay. Now in this connection, there is the known as, so here, there's the meditation emptiness of the self. What are you doing? And then you end up seeing some abstract phenomena like the experience, not tangible to be identified as, say the Poon King, like this, just like abstract phenomena. Okay, so there, now it is that, okay, yeah, the self is not really, but there's something there in the form of abstract idea, like experience. You are actually getting some experience of what the mind is. The mind is not tangible. It does not have a shape. It does not have a gender. It is just in the experience, in the form of experience, which is not at all, it does not have a color. It does not have a shape. It's just a form of experience, and you can experience it, and yet you cannot articulate it, very abstract. Okay, so you are, in a way, you are getting to your mind. Now, it's good to do a little bit of studies of how to get the experience, or how to first, to understand what the emptiness of the mind is. So this abstract phenomena that's coming to you, how even that is also empty of objective existence. So how that is empty of objective, this is also another a journey for you. In fact, for all of us, eventually we have to see the emptiness of the mind. This is so important. And for that matter, say there are ways and the means by which to, first of all, identify what the mind is. What the mind is, studying the Buddhist psychology so well, and then you will get a very broad picture of what the mind is, and then on the basis, try to observe the mind. And then you'll start to see the mind as extremely subtle phenomena. Once you get it, then your job is to apply emptiness meditation to this. Okay, this will greatly solve the problem. And of course, with the meditation emptiness of the mind, it can be very, very scary, unlike the meditation emptiness of the self. Meditation emptiness of something else, emptiness of mind, experience is going to be very scary. Okay, so the point is that in this case, you have to see the emptiness of this experience that you're getting. That is quite challenging. That is quite challenging, because you try to do for the emptiness of the self, and you got this experience. Something, something is actually tangible not in the sense of physical thing, but you are getting something. You know that something is happening. Something's happening. You cannot articulate it, like abstract thing. So you have to first, you should be able to articulate it, and then see the emptiness of that. In fact, this is emptiness of the mind. Yeah. Are you good? Shahala?
Geshe, I have two questions. One, I think it was last week or the week before that Lama asked you a question, and you said the Prasangika ultimate analysis and what is ultimate analysis is for Tantra are a little bit different. So if you can elaborate on this. And the second,
yes.
Okay, and the second one is if one follows the tradition of Bodhisattva Shantideva and start with a study and mainly contemplate and meditate on the selfness of person, then when it goes gradually, does it go on the selfness of partless independent self, and then autonomous substantial existence self, and then jump to the Prasangika view, or also take the selfness of phenomena and apply this subtle analysis to the self of person as well? That means of externality. And
in fact, both are possible. Both are possible, but if you have a study group which is more stable study group, then it's good to study all these five. It's good to study all these five, and how the selfness of phenomena, selfness of persons is presented by Aranigarji, the Bodhisattva Shantideva. That is much more same as how, not only the same, but how Acharya Chandrakirti explains the selfness of the person is much more in detail as compared to how that is presented by Bodhisattva Shantideva. And then the selfness of the phenomena, how Acharya Chandrakirti does is again extremely detailed, and what Bodhisattva Shantideva did is the details in a different way. The approach is slightly different, but the basic framework is much more the same between the two. And then alongside the 4 layers, emptiness of permanent, unitary, independent self, emptiness, autonomous, substantial reality, emptiness, external reality, emptiness, true existence while not rejecting intrinsic reality. All this form, if you have a stable study group, it's good to study all these things. Good to study all these things. And I'll be very happy once in a while if there's a stable group, you study, and if you have some questions, I'll be very happy to once in a while be a part of your group and to respond to your questions. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, good. And the other question is about this one. What is the mark of the ultimate analysis? What is difference? A difference in identifying the ultimate analysis between Savatantra Madhyamika and Prasangika. Okay, this is a very important point. Let's say that let's say what is, in the first place, what is the ultimate analysis, what is conventional analysis, which is common to the two schools, Savatantra Madhyamika and which is common. The common is that the conventional analysis, let's say the flower, conventional analysis of the flower is the analysis which is permissible related to the conventional world. Analysis pertaining to the flower, which is permissible, which is agreeable to the conventional world. And the analysis with respect to the flower, which is not accepted by the conventional world, is known as the ultimate analysis. In other words, the analysis which goes beyond what is acceptable to the conventional world. Analysis of the flower, for example, where's the flower? It's here. Seeing the flower, you ask me, the petal is a flower, the first atom is a flower, second atom is a flower, then there's no answer according to conventional world. There's no answer. So that is known as the ultimate analysis. So conventional analysis is analysis which is acceptable to the conventional world. Ultimate analysis is analysis which crosses the border of the acceptance of the conventional world. This is the common understanding of the two analysis according to schools. Now, what's the difference precisely? Knowing that ultimate analysis which analyzes beyond what is acceptable to the conventional world. So what is that analysis? What's the difference between the two schools? Is that for the Prasangika, we call it the mere imputation. Whereas for Savatantra Madhyamika, they say everything is imputed reality. They don't say everything is merely imputed reality. So this merely is qualified by Prasangika pertaining to imputation. Everything is merely imputed. Whereas for Savatantra Madhyamika, no, it's not everything, not that everything is merely imputed. Everything is imputed, that they are not merely imputed. Why not merely imputed? Because there's something existing from object. There's some degree of objectivity there. Okay, so this is the second point we have to know. Now the third point, which Shal is asking, is what does it mean by ultimate analysis? What is the mark of the ultimate analysis for this for Savatantra Madhyamika, and what is the mark of ultimate reality for the Prasangika? So that's the difference there. For Prasangika, where are you? I'm here. So this is how the conventional world accepts. I'm here. Finish. That's finished. So you cannot go beyond this point. If you go beyond this point, this is known as the mere convention. The mere convention. So in the conventional world, nobody will say that, okay, my mind is me. Nobody will say this. Only if you are exposed to some philosophy, only then you will say that my mind is me. Otherwise, nobody will say that my mind is me. They say, I'm here. That's it. This is the mere conventionality. So that analysis at that point, till this border or till this boundary, is known as conventional analysis. And then the moment you cross this, you go into the ultimate analysis from Prasangika. Now for Savatantra Madhyamika, say, where are you? I'm here. Which? Your body or your mind? My mind. So when you say your mind is actually already across the border of the conventionality. But for Svatanta Madhyamika, this is permissible. This is permissible because they say that yes, your mind is the self. Yes, your mind is the self. So identifying the mind as the self, it still remains within the border of the conventional analysis. Whereas for Prasangika, the moment you cross the mere conventionality, you go into the ultimate analysis. Identifying the self, the mind as the self, this already goes to the ultimate analysis, not a conventional analysis. Whereas for Svatanta Madhyamika, this is still conventional analysis and it is not ultimate analysis. So this is difference. Good. Okay, Tizrumla.
Geshe, thank you. I have many questions. Maybe I can ask two. The first question is actually in continuation with Shahala's question. So I understood the difference between ultimate analysis in Svatantrika Madhyamika and Prasangika schools, but how does it affect the degree of subtlety established by the followers of two schools, like how to connect it with the analysis and the emptiness they would get? I'm still not so clear. So why Svatantrika Madhyamika's emptiness is grosser compared to Madhyamika, Prasangika Madhyamika's?
Okay, thank you, Tizrumla. Your question is very good. And Svatantrika Madhyamika, for them to say that the self still exists beyond the mere convention. Still, the self exists beyond the mere convention. What is that? The mind. The mind is the self. So they could not see the emptiness of the self beyond the mere convention. So that emptiness of self beyond the mere conventionality, that is Prasangika's emptiness. And a self which is the, say, the self which is empty beyond the mere conventionality. For Svatanta Madhyamika, it is wrong. It is not empty. Self is there beyond the mere conventionality. The mind is the self. So then what is that? After that, emptiness, after that, after seeing the mind, and then if you still ask where is the self, then you go into the say the ultimate analysis. That is very gross. So between the two emptinesses, as proposed by Prasangika and Svatanta Madhyamika, the Svatanta Madhyamika is very, very gross. Yeah, good. Okay, Pon King.
Thank you, Geshe. Just now I had the second questions actually. And regarding the inappropriate attention of exaggeration, yeah. Say for a given situation like getting COVID and very scared of, getting COVID. So one needs to anticipate the worst, of getting oneself getting COVID and all that. So hence making all sorts of preventions, of course, yeah. Now, my question is, how would you advise on the distinction between appropriate anticipation and the various levels of exaggerations?
Okay, this is a good question. Extremely good question. Thank you so much. There are many, for example, say the attachment and compassion, there are great degree of similarities. Likewise, they say taking great precaution and inappropriate attention. Again, there's a great similarities. Precaution one has to take. Inappropriate attention, this destroys you. Taking precaution constructs you, not destroys you. So, but they are very similar in nature. So, how to demarcate between these two? This is so important. Let's say that, okay, let's say that if I contract COVID, what happened to me? Or then you will have, we never know, we may even die. That's true, right? That's true. And then whereas when you say that, okay, let's say that then somebody comes to your office or to your place, and then this person may have COVID, right? This person may have COVID, then we never know. And then the person already came, person left, right? This person is so bad. This is all unnecessary. The point is that first, see how you can stop the person coming. That is a precaution. You let the person in and then start worrying about it. This is a mistake. Then after leaving the person, while we're worrying, it will not remove your COVID. Right? This is all inappropriate attention. Whereas they say proper attention and wise attention is first try to tell the person, okay, we can meet online through virtual. If you really are scared, let's say if you really want to meet me, we'll have the video call. We'll do video call if it's okay to you. Just start from the beginning, right? And then if somehow you have to accept the person's request, then when the person comes, make sure that you maintain social distance. If you really fear, maintain social distance and washing hands. All these things you must take the proper, without taking any precaution. And then you put a mask off when the person talks to you, and the person leaves, and then you just backbite the person. This is just all the unwise and then inappropriate attention, giving rise to unnecessary anxiety within you. Whereas we have to taking the proper precaution, which is so precious. This is not inappropriate attention. Yeah.
Sometimes it's quite difficult to define at times, yeah, especially coming to
yes, of course. Sometimes that's quite difficult. For example, say in Tibet House, this is the same issue. In the office, say sometimes some people for some very important official works, we cannot say do not come. And sometimes we have people who are going through really mental the depression, and if we cannot just do it on video, we have to meet, have the heart-to-heart communication happening. So this is how people can be helped. So there we should be very practical, take the utmost precaution. Meanwhile, you should not compromise your compassion.
Okay, thank you so much.
Take the utmost, just cut the unnecessary, say the meetings and so forth. Where really important meetings, one meeting can really heal somebody from depression. We have to meet with taking proper precautions. Yeah, and by taking precautions, still you can contract COVID. Mentally, we should be ready that, okay, so if I don't meet this person going through deep depression, and by meeting with this person, I can give some advice, suggestions, and the person will, come out of this depression. You see this prospect. And then what if I get a COVID? Okay, yes. It's possible. It's 100% possible. If not meeting with this person, also COVID can possible, right? From my side, take every precaution. And if the COVID hits me, what do? Right? All we should be ready beforehand. Mentally, we should be prepared. If these things happen, okay, I'm ready. I'm not to blame anybody, right? I've taken the utmost precaution. Somehow I have to eat food. And the food will never come from the non-COVID planet Mars. Food comes from somewhere. I don't know where this somewhere. If I'm to look for all this somewhere where there's no 100% COVID free, then I cannot I wouldn't have this much money, because I have to send people to make sure that the food where you are buying that place is free from COVID. And from where this food is coming in this shop, it should also be free. And then finally go to the agriculture farm. And the farmers, they also eat food. Again, you have to send all these people to all the millions of people are required to check, to make sure that your one food is COVID-free. That is totally impossible. So the point is that we are not getting food from Mars or somewhere else. It's from the COVID area. So we never know. COVID invade me through any ways. But from your side, do your best. Do your best. Don't say that in any way it will come. We never know. So why should I put on mask? Why should I maintain social distancing? Come, anybody who likes to come. Who likes to have tea with me, come. If this is how we do, we are being very reckless, we are being very careless, and then there's a great chance that COVID can invade you. So the point is, from your side, make sure that you do your best, and meanwhile, never compromise your compassion, just to see how much you can help somebody. And meanwhile, just keep in mind that somehow the COVID can invade me through any means. If that happens, I should be ready mentally. So I'll say, once I contact COVID, then I'll make sure that these are the measures to take care of. While taking care of all these measures, still I may disappear from this earth. Okay, yes, let it be happen. So I'll do their prayers, whatever to be done. Mentally, we should be prepared. In other words, in one way or the other, whether COVID is there or not, there's COVID. We are bound to die anyways. Whether there's COVID or not, we are bound to die. There's COVID there. COVID in a different name. Yeah, is there. Okay, good. Okay, Kim Louis.
Thank you, Geshe, for your teaching. I just wanted to ask how, you heard of these karmically connected beings, and how is it, you practice compassion, right? And then you meet with people who you reckon has got karmically connected with you, and so therefore they are in trouble, and you sort of try to help them, give them advice, right? But if they don't listen, does that mean they don't have the karma to take my advice, and therefore, you just say, okay, we'll just have a rest, or do I just persist? I always struggle with this word karmically connected. I mean, insects karmically connected with me, earthworm also karmically connected with me, and I pick them up so make sure I don't step on them. But when you deal with human beings, it's like so many varieties, and you do, I do who have been in trouble, like.
Okay, basically what we do is that one thing. What we do is that don't expect perfection, because we are not perfect. Don't expect perfection. Do the best you can in the given situation. Don't expect perfection. If you expect perfection, no, he must listen to me. This is best advice. This will help him. Otherwise not. The person will not listen to you. When they listen, then you become angry, you bang at the door. Right? Then it will become worse. So the karmically connected person suffers even more. Okay, don't expect perfection. If you can benefit somebody 20%, which means the other person is still suffering 80%. 80% is a nightmare. 80% nightmare is far better than 90% nightmare. And you save this person from 90% nightmare. You're getting it? Then next question is, can you save this person from 100% nightmare, or to make sure that the person has zero nightmare? For this, we should become perfect. So for that matter, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all the sentient beings. May I quickly become the Buddha. This is the reason. So therefore, we should have two plans, one short-term plan, one long-term plan. The short-term plan is in whatever way you can be of help, do it. And meanwhile, don't stress yourself unnecessarily. When does that happen? When you expect perfection. Then you stress yourself too much, you go into depression yourself. And you're supposed to be helping others, now you need help from the psychiatrist. So therefore, we have to make sure that you have two plans. One is long-term, one is short-term. Short-term, don't expect perfection. Short-term, the very meaning of short-term is that to do the best within the given situation. If the 20% is the best within a given situation, do that. Don't expect the remaining 80%. Feel joy over seeing that 20% benefit is happening. Although 80% is going down, still don't worry. Then meanwhile, the long-term plan is, may I quickly become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Only if you become Buddha, all those who are karmically connected, they can easily be led to the Buddhahood. For example, for me and for you, if we are to go to the Obama's presidential the celebration with Obama, we have to really work so hard. But Obama's two daughters, they do not have to work hard, right? Even if they don't want to go there, they have to go with Obama because they are karmically connected. When you become a Buddha, Buddha is better than become the president of America. Then all the people who are very difficult now, karmically connected, they're easily lifted by you. So you have a huge responsibility. May I quickly become Buddha, much more better than the president of America or the Obama of America. May I quickly become Buddha Lim Kui, Kim Lui as soon as possible for the benefit of karmically connected people. This is the long-term plan. You have to keep in both, and we must take this seriously, long-term plan, very seriously. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, if not, thank you, the last question.
Geshe, thank you. It's just a small clarification. So in the last
there's connection issue, network.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
Geshe, can you hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I think my internet dropped. So in the last week class, we talked about that Samkhya school posits the presence of non-manifest apple tree in the apple seed. So what is the difference between non-manifest apple tree posited by Samkhya and the condition of potentiality, which was posited by Arya Sangha? They're quite similar to me.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. Okay, let's say that the genome, genetic science, we talk about genome, say the everything of what the mother's womb, in the fetus, everything of what this child is going to become like after 40 years, 50 years, 30 years of the birth. They're all dictated there in the genes, in the genome of the child. Versus the Samkhya saying that in the apple seed, that is the non-manifest apple tree in the apple seed. Are these two same? Or in the Buddhist context, what is known as the condition of the potentiality. Apple seed doesn't have the potential to give rise to mangoes, but it has the potential to give rise to apples. So this, then the genome, then the Samkhya's position of the results, the non-manifest form of the result is in the cause. Are these three same or different? Okay. Let's say for those people who accept the genome concept, and the Buddhists who accept the concept of the condition of the potentiality, and the Samkhyas who accept the acceptance of the non-manifest, the results in the cause. So to these three people, when Acharya Dharmakirti put this debate, the tip of the blade of the grass, can 100 elephants sit on this tip of the blade of the grass? This debate works so well against the advocates of the apple trees, non-manifest form of the apple tree existing in the apple seed. That debate works so well to them. And if they are very honest, they'll realize, okay, yes, this debate really hits my point. Now my point is totally baseless. So their point is shattered. Whereas this debate does not hit the advocates of the genome concept. That say what this child, the fetus, if the fetus, the healthily grows healthily, then what this person, the result of this fetus after say 60 years, 70 years, oh, there's going to be the one hair coming here, one mole, extra one mole coming here. They're all dictated in the gene there. When the child is just 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years, 10 years old, it's so cute. The complexion is so cute. You don't see the black moles here and there. All this, what is that? I don't know, the English freckles. You don't see freckles, you don't see the wrinkles there. But all the wrinkles, they are already dictated there in the genomes. Already dictated. And even the single hair, single hair, all these hairs are dictated there in the genome. This is all there. So Acharya Dharmakirti, this debate, I cannot shatter this concept, genome concept. So therefore, this genome concept and the acceptance of the condition of potentiality to these, the Acharya Dharmakirti's debate will not shatter these concepts, which means that these two are very different from this Samkhya's position of the non-manifest from the result existing in the seed or the cause. Good. Okay, thank you. We'll stop here. We'll end with the dedication prayer. Okay, Tom, thank you. I'll switch over. This is much good. Okay. Okay, so so the meditation which we did on emptiness, it'll be so good that if you can do this more regularly, one. And number two, the warning that I'd like to give you is that in the absence of extensive studies of emptiness, this meditation which I'm encouraging you to do now, this meditation at times it can become a little mechanical, where you may find that it's like the recording being played over and over again without any effect within you. And at times you may feel that it's a waste of your time. If that happens, don't worry, just continue doing that. And then instead, when this feeling does come to you, take that as a good indication that, okay, now this is telling me that I need to have a more extensive studies. So this should be like a drive for you to go for more extensive studies. And for extensive studies nowadays, all the materials available from this corner, that corner, from anywhere. Many teachings of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama are available, the recordings available. So you can go for these materials and do more extensive studies. Okay, and the studies, if possible, try to some people say that the teachings, listen to recordings, and the teachings, live teachings are much more effective than the recordings. This is, many people say this. Just see that you get some, if possible, get some live teachings on emptiness. Okay, that's very important. With this mind, let us dedicate the message that's gathered. First of all, let me thank Shahala and the Tomla and Tomer. Okay, and thank you all so much, and all the former, the former the members, volunteers of Dharma Friends of Israel. Thank you so much for just being the pillar of this center, like Leorala, Gilala, and Tamila, and so there are many of them there. So just they continue to be there, because this by being there, if you can take the active role there, that's very good. If not, even just by being there, there's incredibly great moral support for the people who are, more actively taking responsibility there, and the younger ones to come there. They can see that is a very inspiring. But so overall speaking, the Israelis, their thinking is more like analytic. So when they see that, okay, very good, the people with good knowledge are there, the senior with good knowledge are there, then they'll be more inspired. So this is one of my requests. And yeah, then finally, all the virtues that we gathered over the last total, like 2 courses, let's dedicate them for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth today, and that His wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And also let us dedicate merits that's gathered, that all this learning, the incredibly great learning and the practice centers, like from the Samkhya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gelug, from the Chinese tradition, from the Theravada tradition, they all thrive in the activities of studies, reflection, and meditation. And also let us pray that all the centers, even the centers like Dharma Friends of Israel, may they as well be able to serve as a great platform for as many young and the elders to come to seek the nectar of the Dharma. And let us pray that, let me personally dedicate merits that's gathered, that that each one of you, through concerted effort, soon see the dawn of the wisdom of emptiness and the unconditional love of the Bodhisattva within yourself, that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all dear mothers and sentient beings towards ultimate happiness. May the teaching on Bodhisattva, may the teaching on the ultimate Bodhisattva, which is the wisdom of emptiness of the Arya Bodhisattvas, and the conventional Bodhisattva, the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, and all the auxiliary the teachings associated with these two thrive in the minds of all dear mothers and sentient beings in all over the world and in the universe. With this mind, let us say these prayers together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful, generous, Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as a brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanjo samjo rembo je ma ge pa nam ge gyoro che ge ba nyam ba me ba yam kone kondo pe bara sho. May the Supreme Bodhisattva that is not arrested and arise and grow, and may their wishes arrest and not diminish, but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separated from the four wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplished all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect wind, and the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protective Buddha, Dharma, and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes fulfill spontaneously. May all the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who hurt by malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stations and the paths, may fully attain the Sri Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ramajishri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Oh yeah, I'm very sorry. Tomorrow also we have class.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's good. So then we will do a little more on the some different aspects of emptiness tomorrow. Okay,
Thank you, Geshe.
see you tomorrow then. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very, very
Thank you,
much,
Geshe.
Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is.